Introducing the remarkable archetype, the dangerous gentleman. With a demeanor that commands respect and a hint of potency, he embodies strength tempered by virtue. Though his capabilities could veer towards danger, he channels his power for noble causes, serving others and safeguarding those in need. Rooted in a profound love for both God and humanity, he navigates life with discipline and purpose. In his presence, one witnesses the harmonious blend of power and benevolence, a testament to the true essence of masculinity. Step into the world of the dangerous gentleman, where strength is wielded for righteousness, and discover a captivating embodiment of honor and valor. Greetings and welcome to the Dangerous Gentleman podcast. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be kind of a combination of my story time episodes and my inspirational, thought-provoking episodes. And we're going to combine that and wrap that up with my experience as a chiropractor and my knowledge of health and nutrition and all of that stuff. So I just want to start by talking about me and my journey to where I've gotten. I have been overweight / fat / obese most of my life. From some of my earliest memories, I can remember having a belly that stuck out and these skinny little legs and this belly that stuck out and having to buy clothes in the husky section and having my mom and my dad and my grandparents being worried about my weight and encouraging me to make healthier choices. Now, I should add, my dad has struggled with his weight his whole life. He's always been overweight, and I was always watching him do these crazy things to try to lose weight, and he might lose a little and then he'd gain it back and lose a little and gain it back. And he just was always in this cycle. And so I have been too for most of my life. And my earliest memory was, I think I was about 12 when my mom first really kind of put me on a regimented diet. She put me on a Weight Watchers diet, and I had to write down what I was eating. And it wasn't real super strict because here I was 12 and she's trying to get me to eat better. But I was just kind of tracking to make sure I ate an apple or I ate a cookie or whatever it was. I don't remember how successful that was. It was 30 plus years ago. But I do know that it didn't work in the long run because I was still overweight, and I was up until I was 40 plus years old. Once I got a little older and I started to be more conscious and be more aware of those situations, I just remember always thinking about how I was overweight, how I wanted to look better, but I didn't really know how. So I tried these little things. I played football in school, but I wasn't ever really disciplined about what I ate. I just wanted to lose weight. I thought losing weight and getting healthy was a good idea. But I had no real knowledge or expertise or discipline or motivation to do it outside of just being embarrassed. And when I got a little older, as I started to make my own money and I started to kind of be more and more independent, I would see these pills that would get advertised on TV, and I'd be like, oh, well, that sounds good. I'm going to try those. And oh, well, that sounds good. I'm going to try that. Every single thing that came out, you name it, like acai berry cleanses, ephedra, right? I even had one of those little electric belts that went around your waist that zapped your belly in order to try to help you lose weight and give you abdominal muscles. None of it really worked, but I was looking for that magic pill. I was looking for the thing that was going to get me the results because I didn't really know how. I didn't know there was a part of me that probably knew what to do, but I was unwilling to do that hard thing. I was unwilling to be disciplined in what I ate because I didn't even know what that looked like. I was unwilling to say no to the things, right? I was unwilling to really put in the work, so I really just wanted something quick, something that I could just eat what I wanted and then take a pill, or a combination of pills. I remember multiple times where I would just be like, oh, well, that says that it works, and I would buy it. And then that says that it works, and I would buy it. And pretty soon I'm taking ridiculously and embarrassingly overweight. So I would be taking all these combinations of all these things, and I'd do that for a month or 6 weeks and go, and it wasn't really working anyway. There was one particular time when I was in my late teens, early 20s, and I was a part of this discipleship program. And the people who were running it, it was through our church, they got it in their head that I needed to lose weight. And they weren't wrong, right? They weren't wrong. So what they would do is they put me on a very strict exercise program. I was supposed to get 2 bouts of exercise a day. I could pick like running, or that was back in the day of the boxing with Billy Blanks. So I would do that once a day. I would kind of sort of lift weights. I would jog. They wanted me to get cardiovascular exercise, which back in the day, that's what everyone did to lose weight. Nowadays, there's a lot better information out there, and we all know and we all realize that the endless cardio and hours of it aren't necessarily the best way to lose weight. Yeah, that's good for your heart. So I don't poo poo cardio, but cardio is not really the way to lose weight, the best way anyway. And I lost a significant amount of weight, and I was the lightest that I had been in I don't know how long. At that point, it had been probably 5 or 6 years since I had been that light. I got down to around 200 pounds, and I had been pushing 230, 240. And I felt good, right? I felt like I had lost weight. I wasn't muscular. I wasn't jacked or anything like that, but I felt better about myself, right? I felt better about how I looked and stuff like that. And so that lasted a while and I felt good. But the habits, like the way that I got there, which did include some dietary restrictions, definitely, they definitely were keeping an eye on me about what I ate and all the exercise, but it was an external thing, right? So they were watching me what I ate and they were watching me making sure I did exercise. I had this strong accountability, but it wasn't really anything internal. So I graduated from that program, and over the years, I just put the weight on again. And I went off to undergrad, and like I worked out at the gym. But again, it was all about endless amounts of cardio just to burn all the calories from the crappy food that I was eating. And I just I didn't get hugely overweight, but I gained I got up, I don't know, 240-ish. But I kept myself, I was disciplined enough, I had enough awareness that I wasn't going to completely balloon up and get out of control. And then I went away to graduate school down in Portland. And I signed up for a gym membership because I liked going to the gym. I really, at that point, really didn't know much about sets and reps and what kind of exercises work and what kind of exercises didn't. So again, it was just pretty much about going to the gym and burning off calories, trying to burn off my crappy diet. And that was just kind of the next several years of my life was doing that. And again, I was still trying all the lotions and the potions and the programs and the this and the that and the other thing. Well, fast forward to where I was about 40. So 7 years ago, again, off and on at the gym, still trying all the things, but still being overweight and just slowly, incrementally adding weight on to the point where I really just didn't feel good. At my peak, I probably hit 260. And it was at that point, this is when my life crashed. This is when I lost my kids, went through divorce and all that stuff. And I moved to Yakima. And I decided, hey, I'm single now. I'm back on the market. I should try to work out. I should try to get healthier. And so I started to listen to things about weight loss, and I was listening to these podcasts, and I was doing some reading and studying. And now I was like, I knew that it wasn't just about taking the right amount of pills. I knew that it had something to do with food. I knew that I needed to change the way I ate. But I was still hoping that I would find just the right combination of foods or food habits that it would become easy and it would just overnight be gone. So I tried the ketogenic diet. I tried intermittent fasting. I've done carnivore diet. And all of these things worked to a certain extent. And I would lose some, gain some. I'd get to a certain point and I would just kind of sit there. And for me, that kind of just sitting there hanging out weight was about 230, which is still significantly more, about 50 pounds more than I really should weigh. I don't know. I've never hit my optimum weight, what I feel like is my optimum weight. I don't even know what that is. But I was sitting around 230. Okay. And I would go up and down and up and down. And at one point, someone introduced me to the idea of counting macros. And if you're unfamiliar with that, what that means is that you're weighing your food and you're counting calories and you're determining the amount of calories you should eat, the amount of protein you should get, carbohydrates, and fats. Now, I'm not going to go into a big, long lecture about macros and proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, other than to say that they are important, but that's not the point of this. So I started to eat better, and I started to feel better because I was getting enough protein. And I went through various stages of that. I felt good, and I was making gains in the gym. I was getting stronger and stuff like that because I had also started to follow a gym program. But I just was kind of stuck at this 230, 235. And so I would throw in some fasting, and I would try keto for a couple of weeks or a month or whatever. And I would kind of just hit this point where I just kind of just stayed there, and I would lose and gain the same 5 or 10 pounds. And I guess it was in about 2020, maybe 2021, that I finally was just like, I got to stop relying on myself for this. I'm doing everything I can. I'm doing everything that I think that I know to do, and I'm just staying here. So I contacted one of the owners of the gym that I go to, who is also a certified nutrition coach. And I said, I need help. I've gotten where I've gotten based on my own knowledge and my own doing this. I need someone else to help me. So I went in and I met with her, and she took my measurements and we talked about some things. And she said, Andrew, if you're going to do this, you need to this is the amount of calories that you're going to eat. This is how much protein you're going to eat. And you need to log all of it. You need to keep track of it. And I'm going to be watching. We're going to have a shared account on this calorie app. And so I signed up for all of that. I signed up and I paid her money. So now here I am. I'm accountable to her. I have paid money. I have put skin in the game. And I started to follow this plan. And I started to make gains and losses. Gains in the muscle department. Like, I started to get into the best shape of my life. I started to put on muscle, and you could actually see it. You could see where my muscle was. You could see the development in my shoulders. And the first week, I lost 3 or 4 pounds. The next week, I lost 3 or 4 pounds. And she would say to me, Andrew, you're making really good progress. At some point, you do realize that this is going to slow down and you're not going to keep losing at this same rate. And I did. I just kept losing at that same rate. And yeah, it did slow down a little bit. It went from 3 or 4 pounds a week to like 2 pounds a week. But I just kept steadily, and I would weigh myself every day and I'd write it down. And if it was up or if it was down just a little bit, I'd be disappointed. So like 4.5 months, I lost 50 pounds, and I went from 235 when I started that down to 185. And I felt so good. I got so many people that were starting to be like, man, like, what are you doing? I started to get compliments. I would walk in places and people were like, man, you look like you work out. This was the first time that people had ever really said that to me. Like, you look like you go to the gym. Because I had been going to the gym for so long, but my eating habits were so bad that you couldn't really tell that I worked out. But now here I am, and my numbers went up, and all of my strength, my bench, squat, deadlift. Like, I started to be able to do pull-ups. That's when I went from being able to do 0 pull-ups to being able to do 3, 4, 5, 6 pull-ups at a time. And I started to be able to run instead of just plodding along, and my cardio got better, my conditioning got better, and I was in the best shape of my life. And during that time, probably the biggest shift that I had was, rather than going to the gym and doing all that cardio exercise to burn off all of the crappy food that I was eating, the shift that I made was, rather than trying to out exercise a bad diet, I started to think along the lines of, how can I eat the best in order to maximize my results in the gym? And so when I was consuming enough protein, when I was consuming the right amount of total calories, I could lose weight and get stronger in the gym and get fitter in the gym. And I loved it. I loved eating that way. I loved meal prepping at the beginning of every week, because I would cook big batches of sweet potatoes and meat, and I would just cook, and I would prepare meals multiple days in advance. And so when I would get up in the morning, I would just grab a container for breakfast and one of my lunch containers, and I would throw them in my lunchbox, and I would take them with me. And I wasn't taking a gazillion supplements. I think I took creatine. I think that was the only thing, which I suggest anyone who's on any kind of health journey at all, take creatine. It's good for muscle building. It's good for mental cognition. It's good for recovery. It's good for all kinds of things, and it's not toxic at all. And you can take a bunch of it. It's one of the most, if not the most well-studied nutritional supplements out there. And I lost weight, and I got down to 185 pounds, which when I was in high school, my freshman year, when I played football, I weighed 186. And I remember the day that I woke up and I weighed myself and it said 185, and I almost cried because I was like, that was my high school football weight. And somehow, over the years of all the moving and all the craziness and all the turmoil I've been through, I still have my, not high school, but junior high football warm-up t-shirt. We were the Mesquite Mustangs. That was my 8th grade football. And I found that shirt and I put it on and I just kind of just sat there with my mouth open. I was like, how did I get here? I am down to my junior high size. And I wasn't just that I had lost all the weight, because I had put on a significant amount of muscle too. Because back in junior high and high school, I was just chubby. I might have been the same size, but it wasn't good size. I was fat. I was overweight. I didn't have muscle. Now I was that same weight, but now I had muscle. I had defined shoulders. I had defined biceps. I had defined muscles in my legs. I had veins popping out of my arms for the first time in my life. And I wasn't taking all the lotions and potions. I had figured out the magic formula, but it wasn't one particular thing that I just did one time, or some magic pill, or some electric belt that I wore. It was learning how to eat, to fuel myself, to fuel my body, and to get the most out of my daily life rather than trying to compensate for all the crap, all the habits. And so now I keep it simple. Right? I keep it simple. Sometimes I still fast. Sometimes I'll still do an occasional, I'll go and I'll do straight carnivore for a week or two, just because I feel like it helps clear out my system. But primarily, my simple advice, if you got all the way to the end of this and you want a couple of key takeaways as far as how you can implement the same thing, well, first of all, eat to fuel your life, not the other way around. The main thing that you need to do is to figure out what your calorie intake should be, your energy expenditure. It's all about that balance. So figure out how many calories you need to eat. There's all kinds of formulas out there on the internet. I won't tell you which one to use because there's different ones for different things. But find one and plug in the information, and always underestimate your activity level, because almost all of them have like your height, weight, and then you put in your activity level. And depending on where you rate your activity level, it's going to increase your calories. And most people, myself included, overestimate their activity level, and then they end up going, oh, look, I can eat this many calories. Well, the truth is that that's probably off, and that you should underestimate the amount of calories, that you should underestimate your energy expenditure and your activity level. So find that. Eat in a deficit. Figure out approximately how much you want to lose and how fast. Eat in a deficit. Make sure you get plenty of protein. And for most of us, for most people, that's 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass. If you want more information about that, go to my website and shoot me an email and we can talk more about it, because this is actually part of the Dangerous Gentleman. Is I help to coach people through these things. So we're not going to get into a whole lot of details about that, but find your energy expenditure, your calories. Eat in a calorie deficit if you're trying to lose, eat in a calorie surplus if you're trying to gain, or eat at maintenance if you're trying to maintain. But making sure you're getting enough protein, and keep it simple. Eat the same foods over and over again, and try to stick with single ingredient foods. And when I say single ingredient foods, that's like carrots, apples, beef, chicken, whatever it is, eggs. Not these things where you got to go in there and you read through a whole long list of ingredients. The least processed possible, okay? Consuming primary portion of your diet should be animal products. So meat, eggs, dairy. Fill it in with fruit, some simple carbohydrates, vegetables, maybe occasional rice, potatoes. Keep it simple. And you can combine those ingredients so what you eat doesn't have to be like, I'm only going to eat a potato. No, you can put butter on your potato. You can put meat on your potato. You can put cheese on your potato. But just don't buy the foods that have a list of a whole long bunch of ingredients and some of which you can't name. Keep it to single ingredient foods. So calories at the right level, plenty of protein, keep it simple, eat the same foods over and over again, and try to stick as much as you can to single ingredient foods. Okay. If you do that and you eat to fuel your workouts or you eat to fuel your activity and not try to burn off all your crappy eating, you will lose weight. You will get healthier. I guarantee it. And if you want more information, go to my website at thedangerousgentleman.org. Sign up for my email list, and I will email you, and we can talk some more. Okay? So this is a bit about my journey. I've been able to lose all that weight. I've been able to keep it off. I've put on significant amounts of muscle. I still have a little weight to lose, but I'm working on that. But I continue to put on muscle. I continue to get healthier, and I continue to get stronger. Nobody's perfect. This isn't a linear journey. It's kind of up and down. But eventually, if you follow some basic, simple habits, you will get healthier, and you will get stronger, and you will get better. Thank you. So if you like this content, please give it a rating, a review, and share it with your friends. Also, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about me and what I'm all about and what I can maybe do for you, check out my website at thedangerousgentleman.org. That's thedangerousgentleman.org. Thank you for listening.